Parents often ask me, how do I get my child to eat healthy food? Vegetables, fish, beans, anything besides pasta and nuggets. And my answer usually surprises them. Because science asks a completely different question. How do we help a child learn to accept healthy food over time? So today, we'll break down 7 of the most popular strategies parents use to get kids to eat healthy food. 3 of them may actually make picky eating worse. 4 are backed by research and can genuinely help. And because fish is one of the foods parents struggle with most, we'll use fish as our example throughout the video. We'll also talk about what to do when absolutely nothing seems to work. Support the channel, like, subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's go. So let's start with one of the most common strategies. Forcing. Just one bite. Come on, one more bite. You're not leaving the table until you finish it. If you're a parent, you've probably heard these phrases before. Maybe you even said them yourself. And honestly, it seems logical. If fish is healthy and children don't naturally want to eat it, then surely insisting a little harder will eventually help them to get used to it, right? Well, this is where science throws us a curveball. Research suggests the opposite may happen. Children whose parents use more pressure to eat often become even more resistant to those foods over time. And that's why forcing is one of the worst strategies for picky eaters. Because the goal isn't to win tonight's dinner battle. The goal is to help your child willingly eat fish years from now. So as a pediatrician, this is one strategy I strongly recommend avoiding. The next common strategy is bribing. Eat 3 bites of fish and you get ice cream. I think almost every parent has said something like this at least once. But here is the problem. Science suggests that when dessert becomes a reward, children often learn a lesson we never intended to teach. The fish becomes the unpleasant thing they have to get through, and the dessert becomes the prize. That's exactly the opposite of what we are trying to achieve. Even more, research suggests that this strategy may increase the risk of emotional overeating later in life and is associated with a higher risk of obesity. So bribing may work for tonight's dinner, but it's usually not a great long-term strategy. Now let's talk about hiding. Fish and pasta sauce, fish and meatballs, fish and nuggets. You take a food your child already likes, hide the fish inside, and hope they never notice. And honestly, sometimes it works. Your child gets some valuable nutrients, so there is a real upside. But here is the problem. Your child isn't actually learning to eat fish. He is learning to eat pasta sauce. And there is another problem. When parents repeatedly hide a disliked food and a child eventually figures it out, it can feel like a betrayal. Instead of building trust around food, you start building suspicion. Some children become so wary that they begin inspecting every meal, picking foods apart, and searching for hidden ingredients before they'll even take a bite. That's the exact opposite of what we're trying to achieve. So this strategy shouldn't be a long-term solution. And now I'm curious, what is the most creative place you've ever hidden fish or vegetables? Tell me in the comments. Now this next strategy, pairing with familiar foods, might sound similar, but psychologically it's completely different. Instead of hiding fish, you serve it openly alongside foods your child already enjoys. Maybe a small piece of fish next to their favorite pasta, mashed potatoes, or even French fries they happily eat every week. Or simply alongside foods you already know are safe for them. The goal isn't to sneak fish into the meal. The goal is to make fish feel safe for kids. And that's exactly why feeding researchers like this approach. Children are generally more willing to try something new when it's presented next to foods they already know and trust. And that combination is one of the best ways to gradually expand a child's diet. This one gets a thumbs up. But my favorite strategy is still ahead. Let's talk about food chaining. The idea behind food chaining is simple. Instead of expecting a child to suddenly like fish, you help them get there through a series of small, familiar steps. You start with the version that feels safest and most familiar to the child and gradually move closer to actual fish. For example, if your child already loves chicken nuggets, you might occasionally offer fish nuggets instead. Just choose ones with a good ingredient list without excessive breading or industrial butter. or make them yourself. Then you might move to fish cakes, then baked fish fillet. Each step feels familiar, so the child's brain doesn't see it as a completely new food. And that's exactly why food chaining works so well. You're not asking the child to make one giant leap. You're helping them take a series of tiny steps. And in my opinion, that's one of the smartest strategies we have. Now let's talk about one of the most fun strategies for children, involving them in cooking. Children are naturally curious. They love touching things, mixing things, helping, and that's exactly what makes this strategy so powerful. A child's first experience with food doesn't have to happen when the food reaches their mouth. With this strategy, they are already getting familiar with it through sight, touch, smell, and curiosity long before the first bite. And here is what researchers found. Children are much more likely to taste food they helped prepare. In a way, it's similar to the famous IKEA effect. We tend to value things more when we help create them ourselves. So this strategy gets a big thumbs up. But now let's move on to the last strategy. The most boring, the most overlooked, and probably the most powerful and well studied. Repeated exposure. Don't force. Just keep offering, even if your child doesn't eat it. Looking at the fish counts. Touching it counts. Smelling it counts. Even licking it counts. Because every interaction is exposure. A child doesn't have to eat a food to start learning about it. In fact, some children may need 10, 12, or even more than 30 exposures before they willingly try a new food. So yes, it's slow, yes, it's boring, but it's also one of the most effective strategies we have. And here is the good news. All of the strategies that got a thumbs up today can be combined. You can pair fish with familiar food, use food chaining, get your child involved in cooking, and keep offering fish without pressure. Together, those steps add up, and one day there is a very good chance your child will happily eat fish. I got lucky. My son loved salmon from the very beginning, but we had to take exactly this long road with vegetables, and eventually it worked. And now we get to the hardest situation. What if nothing works? Sometimes the best thing you can do is stop trying so hard. If your child is healthy, growing well, and eating a generally balanced diet, sometimes the right strategy is simply to remove the pressure, keep offering, and give it time. Because a child who refuses fish at age 3 may happily eat it at age 6. The goal is not today's bite. The goal is a healthy relationship with food. And here is the good news. Many of the nutrients found in fish can also come from other food when a child's diet is well planned. And if a child avoids fish for a long time, some nutrients may be worth supplementing safely. That's exactly what we'll talk about in the next video. See you there. Kids by Science, where proven wellness for kids meets real life.